It's the least I can do. And I hate, like hell, this happened. I really do. I sell a lot of collector cars to all kinds of people. And like I said, a million times you meet the most interesting people. But this was a very interesting sale, or not even, really wasn't even a sale because they didn't end up buying it. But definitely a first time for me in the thousands of sales I've probably made in my life. So I had a 66 big block El Camino, super nice, bright yellow, gorgeous frame off restored car. I stuck it online, and this guy messaged me, and it's funny, out of all the cars I list, you remember names. Like you don't remember me exactly, but you're like, this guy, I've talked to this guy before about something. And come to find out, he was inquired about this El Camino, but actually come to find out, he had inquired about another car and actually sold it when he inquired about it. It was already gone. And like, man, I missed that one. And we saw this one, and he was like, Johnny on the spot. Told him all about it. He says it's a good car. I said it's a great car. I said, I'll be honest with you, as far as 66 El Caminos go, they don't get much better. And he goes, man, I want it. So he said, well, how does this work? I said, tell you what, you send me a small deposit on it, I'm going to stick this thing on a hauler and I'm going to send it to you. And he was right here in Atlanta, Georgia. It's 2.5 hours down the road. No big deal at all. Little customer service. Called my trailer jockey up, got Devin down. We stuck the El Camino on a trailer, gave Devin this address. I said, take this man his car. He's going to hand you an envelope. You hand him this envelope. You bring me that envelope back. So he left. Devin pulls lots of cars for me, does a lot of transport for me. He gets about 15 minutes away and he actually calls the guy and says, hey, I'm about 15 minutes out, give him a little heads up. He didn't answer. Yeah, maybe he didn't hear his phone, whatever. So Devin just came on. Pulls up to the house is in the neighborhood, garage doors up, everything's like nobody's there, no one. So Devin calls me and he's like, what am I supposed to do? He said, I'm not on the door. He said, the garage door's up, there's no cars here, nothing. I said, well, Devin, wait about 30 minutes. So I tried calling him, no answer. I called Devin back. I said, hell, Devin, just come on back. Something must have happened or something, hell, he gave a deposit on it, so I'm not really out anything. So he brought the car back. Well, later that evening, his wife calls me up, and she said, you won't believe this. She said he was so excited about that car. She said all that night, she said he couldn't even sleep. And she said he was just all over himself. She said this morning he was up at 7 o'clock and just back and forth and ready and just drinking coffee. She said he's sitting in the garage in a chair, just sitting there, just waiting. And she said he was so excited. And she said he started pacing the driveway. And she said he had a coronary right there on the spot. He had a heart attack waiting on this car. And I don't know, maybe if he had, some problems beforehand that led up to this, and the El Camino pushed him over the edge. I get pretty excited about the El Camino myself, so I can feel his pain there. But either way, the gentleman that had the heart attack actually called me. He survived. He was fine. He was still in the hospital. He actually called me the next day and said, listen, Rob, he goes, I probably shouldn't buy a car right now. He said, I think I need to focus on my health right now. And I told him, I understand now. I said, sir, let me send your deposit back to you. It's the least I can do. And I hate, like hell, this happened. I really do. And he laughed. And he goes, well, I guess I have to wait on the next one. I said, it'll be here, bud. We'll make it happen. And as luck would have it, I actually had another guy lined up, and he bought it and went on to its new home. Definitely a first time for me. That's the thing with collector car sales and classic cars in general. These aren't needs, these are wants. But the wants are real. I've had customers cry. I've had customers just smiling like ear to ear. I've had every emotion under the sun because the attachment to these cars, whether, somebody in their family had one, their dad had one, their uncle, their brother, whatever, or their neighbor had one. You know how many times I've heard that story, and now they're getting it. And that's the thing with people, is like, that really just grabs their emotions, grabs them by the heartstrings, no pun intended, and just lures them in, pulls them in every time. That's the thing. I know people feel like that. I know how I feel when I buy an old car. I have that feeling 4 or 5 times a week usually. But, a lot of times they got the poker face, and they don't want to show that. Because obviously everybody wants the best deal. And that's where the salesman comes in. I've got to be able to pull those emotions out of you. And sometimes those emotions come out in some crazy ways. Sometimes they show for themselves. I've had several almost have a heart attack when I gave them the price on one. I've never had anybody have one waiting on it.
We all love Amazon, but most of us have had that experience where you buy something with a lot of glowing reviews that shows up and is just a piece of garbage, and it wasn't what you thought you were buying. Unfortunately, Amazon can be full of bad actors and fake reviews and things that just don't live up to what you think is going to come in a day or two after you order it. That's why New on Amazon has been developed. It was developed by Patrick Kupolari, a friend of the channel, a good storyteller who's talked about BMWs and McLaren F1s and things like that, and he's a huge e-commerce expert, and you can learn more about that on his YouTube channel. But he built a site of trusted sellers, well-reviewed products, and things that he actually knows will show up looking the way that you want them to. And so it's a great way to filter out some of the noise and some of the bad products that you might otherwise discover on Amazon. So check out New on Amazon at the link in the description below, and thank them for supporting VINwiki this month.